Well. The war continues. We had breaking news come out that the missiles were launched at U.S. bases, but Bitcoin, in fact, is going up. What the hell's going on, and should you be worried? I have the entire situation broken down for you all, and what can we expect? We do have a poll up. What are we going to see first? 80K Bitcoin, 120K Bitcoin. Make sure to cast your vote. Also, as you can see from the intro, I'm flying solo today, and I need your help. I need you to drop some questions. I have an AMA put up in the chat. Make sure to drop some questions in there. Might be doing a giveaway towards the end. We're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to talk about Bitcoin flows. We're going to talk about midnight token airdrop. Has a snapshot happened? Who's going to get the airdrop from midnight, the night token? We're going to have that all broken down. We're going to talk some AI agents. And one large financial institution is getting into the stablecoin game. Who is it? And what does it mean? We'll talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of SINCITY Crypto. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another David stream here at SINCITY Crypto. My name's David. I'll be your host today. Man, what an interesting week, huh? Very, very interesting week. Those of you wondering, Rob will be back on the show tomorrow. A man took a much-needed vacation. And we had Boo Boo Bee 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 Lulu joining us, but accidentally knocked her off the chair. I'm sorry. We'll hash this out later. Anyways, guys, a lot going on over the weekend. I did put out a Patreon post talking about my thoughts on the market and what I expect to happen. So those of you that are part of our Patreon, make sure to go read that write-up. Kind of share my thoughts, what I think is going to happen, and how I'm positioning myself, and what changes I'm making in my portfolio and my investment strategy. Again, that's all laid out for the Patreon members, so make sure to go check out that post. Now, obviously, a lot of uncertainty in the air. What's going on overseas with Iran? Take a look at this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but obviously this directly affects our space and our money. Iran said it attacked U.S. military base in Qatar with missiles. Now, this has been confirmed. Those wondering, hey, the U.S. did the bunker buster thing. Does that mean it's over? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's over. Take a look at this. So this is from Nick Sorter. Iran gave advance notice of the attack on U.S. airbase in Qatar to, quote, minimize casualties. This was the outcome I've been saying was most likely to occur, as it allows Iran to save face and allow an off-ramp for both sides. No U.S. response necessary. We hope so. Ideally, we've just seen the worst of it, so we'll see how this plays out. Now, obviously, I agree. If you're hitting someone up and say, hey, I'm going to come rob your house, just make sure the kids aren't home, you obviously are trying to not hurt anyone. So we'll see how the president takes this. Hopefully it doesn't escalate. If it doesn't, I think the uptrend that we saw with not just Bitcoin, but from a lot of big altcoins like Ethereum are going to continue. But if there is some sort of retaliation, depending on what it is, what it looks like, I don't know. Still a lot remains to be seen. And then we also had a potential massive negative catalyst, which was Iran saying they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz, which around, I think, 25% of crude oil globally travels through the strait. This is posted by disclose.tv. 6 super tankers carrying crude oil have performed U-turns in the Strait of Hormuz in the last 24 hours. Now, this might not affect the U.S. that much because, well, we only get like 5% of our oil that comes through the Strait of Hormuz. But some of the allies over in Iran, they get a lot of their oil that travels through the Strait of Hormuz. But either way, this could have some negative effects globally. And actually, if we take a look at crude oil chart, now this thing was, crude oil was starting to rally and then it dipped. Let me pull up a CL1 chart. Here we go. So this was crude. This is on the daily. Let's take a look at the hour here. Let's take a look at the hour. We saw a massive gap up, right? From Friday to Sunday. This thing gapped all the way up to $78, and it has been absolutely tanking. Now, obviously, this is good. People are worried about oil prices going up. What does that mean for inflation? What does that mean for the Fed? Does that mean they're going to start hiking rates again? Not only not cut rates, but hike rates. I don't think this is going to happen, as officially crude oil has crossed below its 200 MA on the 1 hour time frame, and it's teetering right at the 200 MA on the daily time frame. So we'll see what happens here. Something to keep an eye on. Either way, this is all macro stuff. Now, I know this is not crypto, but obviously you guys saw what happened with price. It does affect the crypto markets. Exhibit 1, affecting the crypto markets. Massive $425 million liquidation hits crypto bulls amid global tensions. Again, we talked about BTC. I did post in our trading group on Discord my thoughts on Bitcoin and what I think is going to happen. See Bitcoin seeing a really, really nice rally. That's on the daily. We did get a positive retest of our 200 MA here. As you can see, held up, which is exactly what you want to see. So uptrend is still intact. Do have a little bit of an M pattern here, double top, that we did expect to break to the downside, but it looks like that 100.756K level, which we have not gotten to close below since we broke above it back on May 8th. It was a Thursday, back on May 8th. And so something to keep an eye on. Now, again, I mentioned usually I love putting in limit orders, but there's just too much uncertainty. I did actually have a limit order on Buy DeFi at 99.7 that I canceled. I canceled this, I believe, on Thursday or Friday. Now, I kind of wish I wouldn't have canceled it, obviously, because we'd be in the green. But still, something to keep an eye on. Bitcoin's currently trading at 102.3. I'm telling you guys, once this whole war thing, and they're like, look, we're going to come to the negotiating table. If those words are said, you're going to see a huge rally again. Just kind of let's take a peek at a Bitcoin chart here. Let's take a look at market cipher B. Momentum waves are expanding to the downside. Now, this ended up being a false flag signal here on this anchor wave, trigger wave setup, although it didn't meet the requirement of hitting that oversold 1 level on market cipher B. On the 4-hour time frame, let's take a peek if we see anything different here. On BTC, little bit of a potential bull flag depending on what price does here. But we recovered everything we gave up on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific on a wick. And so we'll see how price action does. Let's take a look at market cipher B. Again, this is on the 4-hour time frame. Did get a green dot printed here. Momentum waves crossed down to minus 81. So extremely oversold. It looks like money flow took a turn against us. We wanted this thing to continue to go up. It had an inverse turn and it's starting to accelerate more to the downside. We want to see that money flow start to get up into the green and cross over our midline. RSI stochastics look fine. Currently sitting at 30 and 39 respectively. But again, guys, a lot of volatility. Now, if you bought some altcoin dips, good for you. I didn't do anything. I didn't buy any dips. I kept my money on the sideline. I didn't sell anything either. Hopefully, you guys, I don't know if you did buy the dip. Hopefully, you bought the dip on the correct ones. But again, a lot of uncertainty, right? Now, all this talk of war, there is one man. I think this is in Tennessee or Missouri. Just kidding. I have no idea where it is. But this man is trading for potentially being called into action. He is in the reserves. As you can see, this man is an absolute pizza ninja. Practicing for if he gets deployed overseas. And I'm not trying to make a light of deploying overseas. I know we have a lot of people in our community that are either veterans or actively or in the military reserve. So I'm not trying to make a light of that. But I thought this was something pretty funny that we can share a laugh over. That's funny. Anyways, curious if Rob was here, if he would laugh. Lulu Boo Boo, is that funny? She said yes. You can't hear her because she's laying down on the chair. She's very tired. All right, let's take a peek at some inflows from BTC. This was from last week. Flows by asset. Bitcoin saw $1.1 billion of inflows last week. We have some news on Bitcoin flows. MicroStrategy bought again. Barely any, though. Barely. I mean, what kind of buy was that, Michael Saylor? Jesus Christ. I don't have the money to buy what you bought, but still, come on, you go from thousands to like 200. We'll share that in a second. ETH saw positive inflows as well, 123.8 million, bringing their month-to-date flows past that $1 billion mark, while Bitcoin is sitting just under 2.4 billion of inflows for the month. We saw outflows from SUI, We saw outflows from the short Bitcoin, which obviously, makes sense with the inflows from the positive Bitcoin. Solana saw inflows of 2.8 million. XRP saw inflows of 2.7 million. And Cardano, Chainlink, negligible. Litecoin, not even worth talking about. Other 2.7 million, not sure what that is. But total inflows and for all of crypto, $1.239 billion flowed in this past week. 3.38 billion flowed in on the month. And so far this year, over 6 months, $15 billion has flowed in to the cryptocurrency markets, my friends. So if you're sitting there wondering, why is my portfolio going down? Should I sell? I'm scared. Smart money is buying, right? These are institutions. These are hedge funds. These are people with a lot more money than you and I. Unless one of you watching is a billionaire. Yeah. Team Salty said, war is over, guys. Bye, bye, bye. Love to see that happen. Vegas Claw. What's up, Vegas Claw? I don't think I've seen you here. The type of guy to fart in the toilet and flush it. That was pretty funny. All right. We have 33 likes, 142 people watching. Do me a favor, guys. Like the video. Also, we do have a poll up. Currently sitting at 58% believe 58% of you believe we're going to see 120K Bitcoin before we see an 80K Bitcoin. I tend to agree with that. I'll kind of give my synopsis. And then again, I do have a questions tab put up. You guys know I don't like to ramble, so throw some questions in there. And you know what? I'll give away $50 to one person who throws a question in the Q&A section. I'll pick one question that I really like. I'll discuss multiple of the questions, but I'll pick one question to give away $50 to the winner. So make sure to do that. Easy way to win $50. That's all you got to do is drop some questions in the Q&A. Team Salty. It's tit for tat. They fired 6. We fired 6. A symbolic retaliation with a backroom deal done with Trump and Iran. Do your own research. It's over. It's done. Bull run is back. I don't know. We'll see what Trump does, right? The guy, no one really knows what he's going to do. But I tend to agree. Obviously, what Iran did is I think it's a symbol of, hey, we don't want this thing to escalate. None of your service members died. Sure, we blew up the air base, but hey, no casualties. We gave you guys a heads up. I think that's an olive branch they're trying to extend. What will Trump do with that olive branch? Part of me thinks he's going to take that branch and snap it in half. The other part thinks he's going to be like, you know what? Markets are down. People are worried. Midterms are coming up. Half of the MAGA group is like, nah, we don't want war. What are you doing? The other half are like, yeah. Maybe he takes this as an opportunity to say, all right, you know what? Let's go to the negotiating table. Let's figure this out. Stop dropping bombs. If that happens, again, I think Bitcoin goes to like 108 to 110K immediately. When I say immediately, I mean over a course of maybe 4 to 6 hours. And so that is something I'm definitely looking forward to happening. Whether it's going to happen remains to be seen. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, neither do you, unless you want to share that you have one. Either way, let's get back to Bitcoin flows. MicroStrategy, massive buy. Wow. 245 Bitcoin for 26 million at an average price of 105,856. They've achieved Bitcoin yield. I don't get that part. They've achieved a Bitcoin yield. Anyways, as of 6/22, they hold 592,345 Bitcoin acquired for $41.87 billion at an average cost of $70,681 per BTC. Wispy said, do we know if Midnight will be airdropped to hardware cold wallets? I hope so, because I have a lot of Cardano staked in my hardware wallet on chain. I do have the tokenomics pulled up for Midnight. We'll see if we can find the answer in that, my friend. So sit tight. But either way, guys, MicroStrategy continues to buy no matter how big, how small. We've seen them buy for 7,000. Now we've seen them buy for 200 BTC. But a big one here. This is pretty big. Anthony Pompliano. Those of you that are from the last bull cycle, he had one of the more popular shows on YouTube. He did a live show on crypto. He strikes a deal raising over $750 million to create a Bitcoin treasury company. Guys, this is a trend that's going to continue. You have the original, which is MicroStrategy. Then you have in other countries like Genius AI, MetaPlanet. Then you had 21 Capital with Jack Mullers. You had Nakamoto with David Bailey, the founder of the Bitcoin Conference. And now, Anthony Pompliano, which he has some ties to like Mark Yusko. and some other macro and TradFi people, Anthony Scaramucci. I'm not saying these guys are involved in the deal, but either way, $750 million is a lot of money. And again, you're going to continue to see this moving forward. Now, the question y'all might be asking is, well, all this buying, treasuries, great. Why isn't the price going down? Let me put a different thought in your head. What if we didn't have all these treasuries? What if we didn't have BlackRock buying all this Bitcoin? What if we didn't have the ETFs? What if we didn't have the hedge funds? Do you think Bitcoin would have bounced back so quickly? I mean, it stayed under 100K for a smidge. Okay, for a smidge. Let's look at this. This is BTC on the 1 hour, and I will move this down to 100K even, okay? $100,000 even. How long did we spend under 100K? Let's take a look. 6 hours. We spent a total of 6 hours, under $100,000, and people think we're on the brink of World War III. Uncertainty, as oil price is going to shoot up, launching this, launching that, nuclear war. All that considered, Bitcoin only spent 6 hours below $100,000. Think about that, guys, right? So when we always think, well, all this buying, all this and that, why isn't the price going up? Have we thought about the other side? Maybe that is what's keeping the price afloat over 100K. Maybe without all these hedge funds and treasury companies and buying from the exchanges and buying from BlackRock, maybe we'd be sitting at $75,000, $80,000. I don't know. But at the end of the day, all that buy pressure, when something goes down or something goes wrong, there's tons of big wallets and big money that is looking to ape in and buy. So I think that's what we're seeing. And you saw that sharp recovery from BTC as we rallied from the wick low here on the initial breakdown. We've rallied around 3.6% in a day and 3 hours. And so, yeah, I mean, just keep that in mind, guys, all right? Just keep that in mind. Jenny from the block said another roast beef incident break for Rob. No roast beef incident. This is him not being here on his own will and power. And so, but again, he'll be back tomorrow. I'm excited to have Rob back. I love that dude, man. I miss Rob. Don't tell him I said that, though. Let's talk a little bit about midnight, and then we'll get into the markets, and then we'll get into some AI agents, and we'll talk a little bit about ETH. Again, guys, I'm giving away $50 to one person whose question I like the most. Drop it in the Q&A section. Just click on the Q&A, give me some questions to answer on the show, and then drop your questions in there. All right, so the big announcement we've all been waiting for, if you're a Cardano fan, the Midnight Tokenomic paper is live. A new chapter begins, designed for sustainability, built for privacy, and engineered for real-world utility. Explore how Midnight is aligning long-term incentives with a fair, transparent launch and a privacy-first architecture. Let me get rid of this. All right, let's talk about the Night token. First, let me drink some water. When alt season, though. I know, when alt season. That's what everyone's worried about, when alt season. Oh, no, I'm doing fine. I got some big gainers in my alt portfolio. Those of you that have been watching our show, you guys know exactly which one I'm talking about. Anyways, let's get back to Night token here, okay? So, Night is Midnight's utility token whose main function is to generate dust, the resource used to execute transactions on the Midnight network. It is intended that Night will also be used for block production rewards, ecosystem growth incentives, and on-chain governance in relation to the Midnight network. One unit of Night is further divided into 1 million subunits called stars. That's a lot. Night, dust, stars. The key features of Night are expected to be as follows. Let me check my phone. I'm getting a text. Okay. Key features, unshielded. The Night token is unshielded, meaning Night transactions are stored and publicly visible in the blockchain. Transferable, token supply, 24 billion Night tokens will be minted on Cardano, which are mirrored on the Midnight network. Non-expendable, they're disinflationary, so the expansion of the circulating supply via block rewards slows down over time until the full supply is circulating and no more inflation occurs. That is one thing I will say, right? That's one thing I will say is with people like Charles Hoskinson and the IOG team and the IO team, I mean, I can't tell you how many, and I'm kind of giving I'm drawing a comparison here. I can't tell you how many times we get, people reach out to us and say, hey, we want you to promote our token. It's not live yet. 9 out of 10 times we say no, unless we go through various KYCs and checks with the founders, right? And it's always a worry of, is there some weird baked in? What if it dumps? I love the fact that Charles, right, the team there at IO, their track record with Cardano, what they've done. And so I could say blind faith. I have blind faith that this is going to be about as tight in as it gets, about as ready to go, ship, no worries of something going wrong, vulnerabilities as it gets. And so, yeah, broad distribution and multi-chain is an important one. In contrast with wrap token representations, Knight exists natively and maintains the same properties and rights on Cardano as a Cardano native asset and on Midnight as a blockchain's native token. Then it goes on to talk about staking, yada, yada. But I want to go to the part where they talk about the airdrops, which is, I believe, section number 6. Take a peek. Section 6 should be coming up here shortly. There we go. Knight token distribution. What everything's been saying. Hold on, guys. I'm getting a text from my best friend. Let's see what he's saying. Of course. Come on, bro. Of course, man. You're my boy, man. Jesus. Okay, you're starting to sound like my wife. Do you love me? Of course I love you. Knight token distribution. Initial distribution of the native crypto asset that grants access, utility, and control over the network is a fundamental component of any blockchain system. In the case of Midnight, this asset is a Knight token. The values and attributes of this distribution are precursor to and exert a strong influence on the long-term future of any project. Therefore, it's crucial that they reflect the values and vision behind Midnight. The distribution of Knight tokens is designed to be, 1, broad. The Knight distribution shall empower a broad community. No single party or group shall exert overwhelming influence over the network. Okay, so they're not holding back a bunch of tokens for team, sales, yada, yada, which is great. Inclusive. Shall be open to participants from Web3 and beyond. What does that mean? Ensuring diversity on the network and establishing mutual interest and support between ecosystems. Participative. The community shall have an active role in claiming the token supply. So this is one thing he talked about. You have to go claim it, which means you have to get on the Cardano network. Hey, Bitcoin holders, you got, I don't know, let's throw a round number, $50,000 worth of this Knight token. You got to come over to Cardano, probably got to get a wallet, download it, and then you can claim the token. Oh, you'll need some ADA for gas. I think it's super smart. I love that. You got to go claim it. And then whatever's not claimed, who knows? Are they going to burn it? Are they going to airdrop it? I don't know. But I think this is excellent. Great idea by Charles and the Cardano team. And then free. Tokens shall be allocated to the community of eligible participants at no cost. Accessible. The claims process shall be simple and clear. Should give the community time to place their claims. And transparent. So there's different claim phases. In the first phase, 100% of the total supply will be allocated to claims by the community of eligible participants based on criteria, which, by the way, those of you wondering, has the snapshot been taken? Well, hear from the man himself.
The snapshot's already been taken.
There you go. The snapshot's already been taken. It's about as clear as it gets. And so to answer the question, Wispy, of, hey, are we going to get, I don't know. Are we going to get the hardware wallets? I don't know. Maybe we'll find it as we go through this. But either way, so claim 1, phase 1, to broaden its reach and make up for the fact that historically token drops have had low participation. The Midnight token distribution implements 2 additional phases. Phase 2, it's called scavenger mine, will allow any prospective participant to play a role in the process of originating and seeding Midnight's core network constituents by providing computing power to solve computational tasks, aiding the launch of the network. During this process, okay, so that answers my question, 100% of unclaimed tokens from the Glacier Draw phase will be processed and apportioned between the participants, okay? Phase number 3, third and final phase, will take place sometime after the Midnight mainnet launches, called Lost and Found. Eligible Glacier Draw participants will be given another chance to claim a fraction of their original allocation, okay? To complete the process of receive the Knight token claim, successful claimants will also have to redeem them, transfer them from a redemption smart contract to an eligible destination, supplied when making their claim. Okay. I don't, so I didn't see anything about hardware wallets, but I can reach out to the ADA team to the team over at Cardano and see if I can get that question answered. But here are the allocations. 50% will be allocated to Cardano participants. Now, the question was, well, what about people that hold CNT, right? Cardano native tokens. Is that going to count? What if I don't hold any Cardano, which I find hard to believe because you're going to have Cardano if you have Cardano native assets. Still, though, I think it's a question of value. Does all my value have to be in the Cardano native token, or can a majority of my value be in Cardano native assets, right? Cardano native tokens. That I don't know. 20% of supply allocated to Bitcoin. That's huge. 20% to Bitcoin. Interesting. The remainder of the total supply will be divided among the remaining qualifying networks in proportion to the relative USD value of the token holdings of eligible participants at the snapshot. Now, what does this mean? Does that mean Polkadot will be included? I think potentially yes. I think they said XRP, Polkadot. I don't think they said Tron. I don't know. Either way, this is going to be absolutely massive. So, with that being said, snapshot's been taken, so don't go fumbling around trying to buy more tokens just to get more of an airdrop. That snapshot's been taken. This could potentially be massive. Now, the importance of midnight, my friends, is obviously privacy, which is huge. The second is RWAs. Midnight's going to unlock RWAs for ADA. We know that's going to be a massive sector. We know the sector hasn't really taken off yet. So could the timing here for Cardano be almost perfect to when we start seeing RWAs heat up? And here comes Midnight, created by a team who created the 9th largest cryptocurrency project in the entire world with a decade-long track record. That could be absolutely massive. Oh, and DCA Prey said Brave. Absolutely. You're 100% right. Brave will be included, not Brave, BAT, Basic Attention Token, which is the token of the Brave browser. I'm going to take a peek at the questions here, seeing any questions you got to drop me. Sean Behringer said, David, you think NFTs are going to make a comeback this cycle? That's a good question. Do I think NFTs are going to make a comeback this cycle? Let's take a peek at CryptoSlam. CryptoSlam.io. And we can take a look at what does volume look like for NFTs. Let's look at 30 days. Okay, so 30-day volume. Let's take a look here. Okay, sales volume by blockchain. ETH down 42%. 42%. Immutable up 205%. Guys, and I know Immutable, correct me if I'm wrong, is part of the Ethereum ecosystem. So is Polygon. But I mean, outside of IMX, everything is deeply in the red when it comes to sales and volume. So, and then let's look at one more thing. Let's go to OpenSea. And I think, I don't want to watch the film. I don't want to watch the film. Okay. Oh, they did a revamp here, huh? Okay, there we go. So I think the Anchor NFT sale, or the Anchor NFT collection that we can say, NFTs really taken up, is Bored Apes. It's at 11.2 ETH. Not bad. Obviously, far away from its height at around 150 to 200 ETH. For one Bored Ape, it's sitting at 11.2. You look at volume. Let's take a look. Can we see where volume is? I haven't seen this thing in a while. Let's look at activity. So, I mean, we're getting some sales, right? Over the last 8 hours, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sales over the last 8 hours. That's one an hour. It's not really a lot, right? Still, though, 11.2 ETH, not bad. Yeah, Pudgy Penguins. But I think if NFTs come back, I don't think it's going to be like we saw in 2021. A bunch of people just throwing some JPEGs, artists, partnering with blockchain developers and launching an NFT project. I think the ones that have the acumen that Bored Apes and Pudgy Penguins and, I don't know, throw doodles in there, those ones, I think, will make a comeback from nostalgia alone, but that won't happen to the very end of the cycle. I believe that'll be one of the last things to happen in the cycle, is NFTs start to run. Bored Apes start to run, Pudgy Penguins start to run. And so somebody timestamp this, or if you want to clip this out, if NFTs make a comeback this cycle, that'll mark the top of this current cycle. I think that's what's going to happen. But I think NFTs come back in a different form. I don't think it's going to be JPEG form. I think it's going to be more of tokenization, which are NFTs, right? They're non-fungible. But people aren't going to know it, right? People, when they think of NFTs, they think of this. What you see on your screen there with Bored Apes. That dynamic and paradigm will change to NFTs become, hey, just tokenized assets, whether it's in real world assets, whether it's in AI, real estate, whatever you want to name it. I think that's what's going to happen. So great question there, my friend. Thank you for that. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll we have up. Okay, what comes first? And a majority of you, Sean, thanks for that question. Majority of you are in the 120K camp Bitcoin, which is 59% to 40%. I am also in that camp. I think okay, so I'll kind of give you an insight and a peek into my thought process in my brain. Charts aside, I mean, obviously I look at charts, but the way I view charts and candles is I view them as each candle represents the collection of how people felt that day. So when I see, we can even zoom out to the daily. Okay. When I see something like this, and we'll isolate this candle. Let me draw a little. When we see something like this candle, what that tells me is there was a massive tug of war. There was a lot of volatility on increased volume, and the bears won that day. And then when I see a key level hold up, my first response is, well, the bulls, there's an anchored price that the bulls have in their mind that they are willing to put their money into the markets, no matter what is happening in the macro. And that number was $100,000. As you can see, we wicked all the way down in 98.1, shot right back up. And this is what's called, my friends, an engulfing pattern here. Okay? This is an engulfing pattern. You have a red candle, and then your very next candle, you have a green candle that the body encapsulates or engulfs the entirety of the previous body. And in fact, if we can push up to 103,359, not only will today's candle engulf yesterday's body, but it'll also engulf the entirety of the wick to the upside from yesterday as well, which would be absolutely massive. A clear reversal pattern when you talk about candlesticks. And it's happening at the bottom of a downtrend, which is what you want to see. And so potential reversal here. And so that is my thought process. So when I'm sitting here saying, holy shit, everyone's worried about World War III, they just dropped 14 bunker busters, and Bitcoin only went to 98K for 6 hours and is right back to 103,000. It is currently at $103,000. What that tells me is there's a lot of momentum to the upside. And once the lid, that is global macro uncertainty, once that lid is removed, the water isn't just going to foam and boil over. The water is going to shoot up like a damn geyser. You're going to start seeing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 candles, daily candles for BTC. And so I'm in the 120K camp as well. I mean, 112 to 120, we're not too far off. That's only an $8,000 move, which again, I believe can happen in one candle. If all things play out the way we want them to play out. Peace deal, the Russia-Ukraine thing, maybe that subsides, Fed starts cutting rates, signal quantitative easing. All that happens. I think an $8,000 daily candle is not out of the question. It's really not. So those are my thoughts, but I'm in agreement with 60% of you that believe Bitcoin is going to get to 100K before it gets to 80K. With that being said, I'm going to take a swig of water. I'm also going to check the chat here again. All right, Miguel, you threw a lot of questions in there. Thank you very much. Okay, this question from Miguel. Having all in consideration, you consider memes a net positive or a negative for crypto? Don't you think the SEC will tag them as securities, taking into consideration they have no use case? So to answer the second part of your question, no. The SEC will not, at least not the current SEC. They will not label meme coins a security, Exhibit A. They came out and literally said they're collectibles, right? What are you going to do? The president and his wife launched a meme coin. You're going to label them securities and then they're in violation of securities laws? I don't think so. And so blanket board across the board from the SEC, the direction is meme coins are collectibles. Okay, fine. Now, the first half of your question is, are they a net positive or negative for crypto? I was always in the camp of it being a net positive. But after we saw what happened with Pump.Fun, I don't know, man. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to that have gotten absolutely burned. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen in non-meme coin projects or the sector that's not related to meme coins at all. But still, man, it was pretty insane. And I don't know. I'm starting to land in the camp of it's a net negative. Doesn't mean I think they should not exist. I think it's a decentralized world. And so people want to launch meme coins. But it's got to be up to the people on the other end who are looking to buy these things that are smart enough to not just get FOMO and throw their money at BS that they haven't even verified yet. Especially when you have projects like Cardano and Near Protocol and some of the other ones that are on huge discounts. Why throw your money in the garbage by putting it in bullshit-ass meme coins? So to answer your question, no, they're not going to be labeled securities, at least in this administration. And two, I'm starting to lean they're net negative. And I have a little bit of memes in my portfolio, but it's getting to the point where it's just 98% of it is just money extraction. You might get 1 or 2 out of 100 that might break out and make people millionaires. But the scenario of people putting their life savings in and losing it all, it happens way more often than the person who took $100 and turned it into 10 grand. That's my personal opinion. I mean, look at what it did to Solana, right? We have Solana news, bullish Solana news here in a second. Let's take a peek at the crypto bubbles. This is on the day. Why does it look like that? Where'd all my bubbles go? There we go. All right. Looks like the biggest gainers are the biggest losers from just 2 days ago. IP up 19%, Sonic up 15%, Virtual Protocol. Where's the price at? This thing was down $1.36. It's at $1.48. Now, the Genesis launches have been slowing down, okay? Genesis launches have been slowing down. The meta might be moving away. Now, I'm not saying go sell all your agents on virtuals and sell all your virtuals. I don't think so. These things come in waves. You guys remember wave 1? This was wave 2. Now, between wave 1 and wave 2, there was a long waiting period. I say long, but realistically, it was like 3 months, okay? 3.5, 4 months. I don't think we're going to get a 3.5, 4 months. ACP is on deck. The team, it comes down to the team. Do you believe in the team? I 100% believe in the team. They've proven themselves time in and time out. And so I personally, although I might be participating in less Genesis launches, I am not completely abandoning the platform, not completely abandoning the agents or the virtual project, the virtual token, and I'm not moving off my price prediction for virtuals of anywhere between $8 to $12. Farcoin up 13.5%. Hyperliquid, man. Hyperliquid. I'm going to continue to kick myself in the ass for not buying some of this at $13 and being afraid for some strange reason. Shame on me. Shame on me. It's okay. We can't get them all right, right? All right, let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about agents. So I'm going to talk about DKing, and I'm also going to talk about Simpson. Now, Simpson was one we gave to our Patreon members. I think this thing was at 2 million market cap. It went all the way up to almost 30. It's currently sitting at 8. So even through the drudging of the last 3 months of these AI agents, our Patreon members who got into Simpson are still up a 4x, so not bad. And they just put out an update to their platform, which, by the way, guys, I know this team, and these guys are rock solid. Our intern has never traded anything before, so naturally we gave her $500 to test the platform. Take a look at this video. So this is them showing, and I'll rewind it, but this is them showing how their platform works. And so take a look. So it's just like, I don't know, ChatGPT, right? I want to go along, you tell it what you want it to do, and then just watch. Now they have these things called simp scores, and you can see here, and I'll pause it. It gives you an analysis of its simp score and why it gave it that score, right? So it gave Near a score of 100. very bullish. 1 hour RSI at 42.9 and rising. 4 hour oversold, right? I think that's the Dan from Chart Guys. That's his back burner, right? He said, I want to see the 4 hour oversold and the 1 hour start to move up, which is exactly what it caught. It gave Kaido, Trump, and Virtual, which, by the way, not to be fair, everything's gone up. But you look at Near and Virtual, at least Virtual, that's one of the top gainers of the day, okay? So then it tells it, okay, I want to do Near Protocol. And it creates it aggregates the trade for you, and then you click confirm, and then he ended up making $1,000. And all you had to do, or all the intern lady had to do, was, hey, show me the scores. This is what I want to do. Here's what we think. This is what I want. Here you go. Confirm. And that's it. Now, obviously, it could have gone the other way, but still, these are practical solutions for people as AI continues to grow, as people's interest in AI continues to grow, and the software and hardware side of AI continues to make new headlines and really just shitload of money pouring in, and new things we see from that space. You're going to see more of these come into the spotlight. Simpson up 17%, currently sitting at a market cap of 6.63. As you can see, it got as high as $33 million. It's seeing a really nice recovery here. It's putting in some higher lows on the daily time frame. No, I want this one, right? So here's one of our lows. Here's a higher low. Here's a higher low. Now, this was a lower low, but this came into a really nice inverse head and shoulders. Okay, and my drawings are absolutely horrific. In fact, let's see if... let's use this. I'm going to draw our inverse head and shoulders pattern here. That's one way to draw it. Or you can extend the shoulder out down to here. You can push this thing up there. But either way, right? We had a higher low, lower low, then a higher low. This gives us your left shoulder, head, and your right shoulder. Break to the upside. Now, I think Simpson still has a long ways to go. This is something that I've had in my portfolio. I have not touched. I haven't added on to, but something to put on your radar. And the other one, my friends, is D-King. This thing has been just rallying in massive spurts. Again, those of you that are part of our Patreon, you guys know my exact strategy of what I'm looking to do. Okay? But any of these dips, and this was a 31% dip. This was a dip. What did it open at? 64 cents, got a wick down to 49 cents. Do the math on that one. This one was a 20% dip, and this one right now is a 7% dip. But from a wick high of $1.16 to a wick low of 78 cents. Again, do the math. These dips are being eaten up and price continues to go higher. We're not too far from our all-time high, you guys. We're not too far from all-time high. This is one I got in at an 800K market cap. We are 78% from all-time highs. While when you look at the rest of the AI agent market, it's beaten down a lot more heavily than D-King has been. And so if you're looking to get exposure to this project, as you see on this chart, there's multiple 15 to 30% plus wicks, dips. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. Don't buy it when it's at $1.10, when it's rallied 50%. If you are going to buy it, that's something you decide to do, buy it on these dips. Buy it on these dips, and you should make up fairly well. With that being said, I do want to give a big thank you. Today's show is brought to you by Cam Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMs can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity. That's very, very important. And you guys know our business here. We rely heavily on internet, and cybersecurity is an absolute must. And we're proud to have CAMs as a channel sponsor. They're the longest tenure sponsor we've had on this show, and we're proud to have them. So big shout out to CAMs. Use the link in the description of this video if you want more information. I'm just taking a look at some of the questions here. Diamond Hands Daryl said, David, with Mantra gone, why hasn't Omda rocketed up to fill the vacuum? Om didn't do shit. That's the thing. Like, Om didn't do anything. Didn't have any partnerships, not that I heard of. So, like, what hole is it filling? It's not like, oh, Solana went under. Where are all the meme coin traders going to go? Oh, they went to Cardano. Why isn't the price moving up? No, that didn't really happen. I think Ondo's time will come. But I think the overall in the markets, the markets are just struggling. And just take a peek at Bitcoin, 103,034 for BTC as far as price action. We'll see, man. We'll see. Again, this whole Middle East war, Iran, USA, that is still unfolding. And we'll see what Trump decides to do after the bombing in Qatar. Okay, let's talk about Fiserv. They've launched FIUSD stablecoin using Solana, Paxos, and Circle. Okay. Now, if you guys remember, when Pump.Fund imploded and meme coin trading volume completely fell off the face of the earth, there's a lot of people calling for Solana to really struggle. And I said, although transaction volume shows that 75 to 90% of Solana's transactions are with meme coin trading, it still has stable coins in its back pocket. It still has RWA in its back pocket. And here you go. They've chose to launch on Solana. A couple of things to note here. The company aims to offer banks and merchants the ability to operate with cryptocurrencies within traditional systems without altering their operational model or incurring additional costs. This initiative also includes a digital asset platform designed to enable real-time transactions and programmable financial services while meeting established regulatory and compliance standards. FIUSD, built on Solana and powered by Paxos and Circle. The goal is to achieve high interoperability with other stablecoins and create a digital payments network that operates efficiently, securely, and in full alignment with traditional banking controls. Fiserv currently serves around 10,000 financial institutions and 6 million merchants, handling 90 billion transactions annually. Now, I didn't know much about Fiserv. I was like, I've seen this around, but what the hell is this thing? So, publicly traded company, founded in 1984, $20.5 billion in revenue, $5.88 billion in operating income, which is pretty good. Net income, $3.13 billion, and 38,000 employees. So this is not just a tiny company. This is a fairly large company that, again, is launching their own stablecoins, guys. I've been saying this for months. Stablecoins is next to run. Then the question becomes, I got these stablecoins. What do I do with them, right? Idle money is not good money. You want your money working to make more money for you. Institutional DeFi yields, institutional DeFi plays. That is what you want to take a peek at. All right. With that being said, we are done for the show today. The question that I pick, Sean, I like your question about NFT, Sean. I'm going to send you $50. Do me a favor, Sean, if you're still in the chat, drop your X handle at, and then the exact X handle, the way to spell it, because I'm going to reach out to you via DM on X, and I'll get your, and the only thing I'll ask for is your USDC or USDT address on Base or Ethereum. Once you send me that, I will send you your $50. Thank you for participating. Also, big thank you as well to Miguel and Diamond Hands Daryl for participating as well, and those of you guys as well. Now, Sean, if you're watching after the fact and maybe you're not here anymore, just comment after the live show is done in the comment section. Again, put your @ X handle, and I'm going to DM you on X from SINCITY Crypto 1. With that being said, guys, that'll do it for the show today. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Rob will be back here tomorrow, back to our regular OG show. Excited for that. Also, if you stay in the chat here, you'll be automatically redirected to the Sistine Trading, where CVO will be running the trading stream there. And with that being said, Gina! Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great weekend. Don't panic. Everything's going to be okay. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.
SINCITY, crypto, everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in, for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David, I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite, I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners, special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners, ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors, they gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon.